Okay, Regents exam number 1, question 22. Now, before I start this question, one thing I do want to mention is historically, the way the Regents exam works is the questions get progressively harder throughout the exam. So the first 10 questions or so should be pretty straightforward, and you want to get the majority of those. As we get later in the exam, that's when they start to hit us with a little bit more rigor and make things a little more difficult and expect us to do more work. Okay. And this question looks like a lot more work because the value of x, which makes 2/3 times the quantity 1/4 x minus 2 equals 1/5 times the quantity 4/3 x minus 1 true, is. So they're saying solve this equation for x. But they give us the answers. So here, I'm going to my graphing calculator because I want to work smarter, not harder. So, home screen, new document, say no to drugs, and I'm going to add that calculator page. And here, I want to go to the numerical solve. So menu, choice 3 is algebra, 1 is numerical solve. So let's do that again. Menu, choice 3 is algebra, 1 is numerical solve. So really, the hardest part of this question is typing things in appropriately. So we have 2/3, then we need to open our parenthesis. Then another fraction, control divide, 1/4 times x, subtract 2. Close that parenthesis because remember, everything has to be inside these parentheses for NSolve to work. So control divide, 1/5. Now another parenthesis, another fraction, 4/3, x minus 1. And then we close that first set of parentheses. So all this is inside parentheses, right? And now, before I finish inside this last parenthesis, I go to the lower left-hand corner for my comma, and I tell the calculator I'm trying to get it to solve for x. When you're using NSolve, right after the phrase NSolve, you need the big parenthesis. Right after the x, you need the other parenthesis, and it's going to solve everything between those two. So if you don't have the big parentheses on the outside, NSolve doesn't work. But when you do, look at that. Negative 11.3333, or 11.3 repeating, which happens to be this answer right here. So sometimes working smarter, not harder, we still have to be meticulous and pay attention to detail, but it does make a problem that could be a monster doing algebraically not so bad in the calculator. And that's question number 22.